ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Armstead. Coming up next on the Parker Daniels Show, I discuss my battle with blindness. Stay tuned.
Well, I'm not going to say good evening because it's almost good night, which means we do videos nighttime, morning time, it doesn't matter. Wherever the inspiration catches, we doing them. Today we have a very special individual all the way from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Goes by the name of Victor, but before I bring Victor on the air, I would like to say continue to subscribe. Did I say that too fast? Continue to subscribe, hit that like button, share, comment, follow, and I will be happy and everyone else will be satisfied as well. You're going to get important shows such as this one coming up now. We have Victor on the phone. Victor, are you with me?
Yes, sir, Anthony. Glad to be with you here on the Parker Daniels Show.
Well, we're glad to have you. You are a very interesting individual because you are a radio personality amongst a lot of other things. You're a trailblazer. You started some organizations in D.C. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Actually, I am pursuing a career in voice acting, voiceover, and ultimately, hopefully, will get a gig on the radio either here in D.C. or perhaps over the internet. That's my new passion now.
Okay, that's great. Well, hopefully, we're going to say hopefully you're going to get it. So with that being said, we're going to jump into your interview and you're going to tell us everything about yourself. If you don't mind, from the time you were a young individual up until now, we're going to skip around and things like that, keep everybody interested. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you my man, Victor. Let's go, Vic. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What's up?
Hello, everyone. I am Victor, born and raised here in Washington, D.C. I had full and complete sight for the first 33 and a half years of life. And after graduating from high school in 96, I began working as an administrative assistant, campaign spokesperson, and nonprofit advisor for the United Black Fund here in Washington, D.C. I worked the job every day for 15 years until I tragically lost function in my kidneys, which required me to undergo dialysis and then losing my vision in 2011. So okay. I have been totally blind now for the last 7 years.
Okay, what kind of organization was that you said?
It is the United Black Fund. It is a local nonprofit organization that renders health and human care services within the Washington metropolitan area.
And what kind of services y'all provided?
I'm sorry?
What kind of services y'all provided? What did y'all do?
Well, we primarily raised funds to other nonprofits. So we dealt with nonprofits that provided health care, daycare, counseling services to senior citizens, those that underwent drug abuse, homelessness, just about any health and human care services that you can think of. We help provide that through member agencies that we had under our umbrella.
Okay.
And we also help those who wanted to launch their organizations. We would help them develop an organizational base from the ground up, and we would give them all the papers and all the assistance they need to get launched.
Wow, okay. And was it your health that stopped you from working in this organization, or you just had gotten tired of it or something like that?
No. I love working for the United Black Fund, and that's why I went straight into it after high school. They had a campaign called I Love Life and I Want to Live, and they had an oratorical or public speaking component, and I actually won second place in my junior year in high school. But Wilhelmina Rolark, who led the organization at that time, was so impressed with my speaking ability that she brought me into the organization upon my graduation. And so during fundraising campaign season, wherever she went, I was right there at her side, giving my personal testimony and motivating and inspiring people to contribute to the United Black Fund and our cause.
How successful were y'all?
I'm sorry?
How successful were you all as far as you raising money and getting people to contribute?
We were very successful, but of course, when you're in the nonprofit sector, as hard as you work and as much money as you raise, it is never exactly where you want to finish. So it's a never-ending struggle.
Right. Okay. Speaking of the struggles, quote unquote, tell us about after you've lost your sight, how your life was. You said you had lost your sight due to kidney failure, right?
Right. When I lost my sight, it happened suddenly. I had went to dialysis one morning, and it was routine. There were no problems until after I was preparing to leave. And while walking from the treatment area to the waiting room, it was as if someone had just suddenly turned the lights out. And I was in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, my God.
It was a horrific moment. I was crying out for help. And I figured if I would go home and rest, because this has happened times before, I figured if I lay home and rest, that my sight would return. But when I woke up from my nap, I was like, wait a minute, my eyes are open and I'm not seeing anything.
Wow.
And I knew then that something was seriously wrong. I went to the hospital the next day, and they ran all kinds of tests, MRI, CT scans, spinal taps, and no answer was given as to what caused it. But because I was also type 1 diabetic for 20 years at that time, they immediately wanted to pinpoint diabetes as the cause.
So ultimately, that's what they contributed to?
Well, I found out about 4 years after losing my sight that it was a condition called metabolic optic nerve neuropathy, which is triggered by a sudden catastrophic blood loss to the optic nerve. And because the optic nerve cannot regrow or repair itself, once blood flow is cut off, it dies. And that's what happened in my case.
Wow. So you have no vision, or just you have light perception or anything like that, or just no vision at all?
I have no vision at all. I do have bits of shadow and light perception, but strangely, I think my shadow perception is better in darkness.
Oh, okay. And the question that I ask everyone who goes through situations such as this, how were you mentally? How did you feel after you had, to lose your sight at such a rapid pace? How did you? Honestly,
Anthony, I hit rock bottom because it happened suddenly, so I wasn't prepared for it, and trying to grapple with, how is I going to cope? How is I going to work? I mean, I had a cell phone and couldn't use the cell phone because I couldn't text, I couldn't email, I couldn't do anything except for make and receive calls. And using only one button to do that, the phone would often mess up. So it was, I didn't know anyone at the time who was blind. I didn't know what resources. So I basically had to learn everything through trial and error and from my mom. Like, she stepped right in there, and she knew through motherly instinct how to guide me around using sighted guides. She taught me little tips and tricks as to how to get things done.
Really?
And so I give her credit in helping me be stable enough and just able to learn the things that I needed to on my own.
Oh, okay. Man, moms, I'm telling you, moms always come through, man, for real. Thank God for that. So after that, you gained a sense of independency, and what happened after then? Did you, further your education?
Well, my O&M training is still a struggle because, as I mentioned, I was a dialysis patient. So that schedule in itself made me getting O&M and other services extremely difficult. And in 2014, I was blessed to receive a kidney pancreas transplant.
Oh, man.
And so that recovery in itself took many months. I lost a lot of weight, and I was extremely weak. And even to this day, there's still issues with my ankle that I had severely broken in 2005. And so the organization that's helping me wants to make sure that ankle is sound enough for me to stand on before I can go into intensive O&M training. So when I go out, it's evident that I'm blind. It's evident that I'm a beginner. My confidence is shaken, but I know that with my family and my home health aide that I have, that eventually it'll be another goal that I can accomplish.
Man, we're gonna take that eventually out and say that it's gonna happen. What's keeping you in spirit, in great spirits? Because before we went on camera, I had the pleasure of talking with you a little bit more, and you have great spirit. In spite of those things that you've gone through, you still remain positive. And what's keeping you in that situation?
Well, I figured if I'm gonna have to deal with this thing, I can't let it beat me up anymore. I figured my name is Victor, and it's Victor for a reason, and that's because I am a winner, I am a champion, and I am a conqueror. So with that being said, I cannot let this thing beat me and say I can't do, or I'm not able to do whatever it is that I set my mind to. I'm the author and finisher of my capability, and I know that if I have something set in mind, it just takes me a little extra time and effort to get it done, but I know it will get done.
I like that.
So I just have to be patient and pin my ears back and get after it.
I like that. So we have the support of your mom and your aide. Are there any other individuals that sort of you can quote unquote lean on when you need a little assistance that's helping you through these times in which you're going through?
I do have several best friends that I chat with on a regular basis who keep me grounded and motivated and driven towards the things I want to do, which, as I told you earlier, is to become a radio personality or voiceover. I do have brothers and sisters who support me in my daily struggle, and they keep me on my toes and make sure that I don't slack anything.
Okay, so it's great to have a supporting cast. I'm glad to hear that you do. Now, as we segue into the radio personality, I'm just waking up. The radio personality. Give us a little synopsis of some personalities, or do you sound like anyone, or is it how does it? What do you do when you do the personalities? Because I want a little taste of it.
Well, when I started the radio personality thing, it started, I think, in the later part of 2015. I began listening to Angela Stribling, a local personality here in Washington. And I was like, wow, I figured that's something I could do. And so when people would randomly call my house, I came up with this radio voice, and I would say, "Hello, caller, you're on the air, who's this?" And I would get so much feedback as they would say, "Hey, you know what, have you thought about radio? That sounds really, really good."
Definitely did.
And so the more I did it, the more feedback I developed. And actually in the middle of the night, instead of sleeping, I take my cell phone, my tablet, and my stereo, and I create my own little studio, and I have a couple of clips that I will actually send you after the interview so that you can see the kind of work that I'm doing behind the scenes and trying to get my voice perfected. So when I make that major push, I can hopefully be successful.
All right, I'll be glad to check it out and see if I can put it in the actual description and what have you. Man, I'm glad to have had the opportunity to talk with you, man, for real. If there's anything that this show can do for you, feel free to hit us up. And you always got a friend in me, even though I haven't met you and what have you, because I like your personality and like your direction. I'm not just saying it because you're on the show. I really am sincere. I was raised to be this type of person, and thanks to my mom and dad. And also, as I segue into this conclusion, well, before I do that, won't you give the audience a little pep talk, so to speak, in terms of what they need to do if they're going through the situations in which not necessarily you've gone through, but any type of adversities?
Well, I would say to anyone, whether they're dealing with blindness, with kidney disease, whatever the monster is that you are facing, keep in mind that we are all victors. We're all champions, we're all winners, and we're all conquerors. And know that we can do anything that we set our minds to, no matter how long it takes or how many attempts we have to take in order to get it done. Know that we can get it done. And we can't allow anyone or anything to stop us from reaching that goal. We have the ultimate say-so as to whether or not we can get that done. And as long as we own that and we accept it, and that's what we go by, then we will accomplish what we set out to do.
That's words to live by, Bar.
And that's the message I say to everybody, via the audio broadcast that I do on Facebook, whether or not I'm in front of a podium giving speeches on the phone or in person with someone. That's the message I intend to spread forward from this day.
Okay. And lastly, I like what you said earlier in your interview, is that I was named Victor for a reason. I like that, man, for real. So,
well, that's something I've grown to accept. I've been through a lifelong of challenge after challenge after challenge, and God has blessed me with the ability to overpower and beat every foe that is stood in front of me. And blindness is the biggest monster right now, and I know it's only a matter of time before that too falls.
Okay. Man, I'm glad to have you on this show, man, for real. And with that being said, because Victor has said it all, I would like for y'all to continue to subscribe, hit that like button, share, follow, tell a friend, because you're going to get some stories like this. I'm telling you, you're going to miss out on Victor. So, Victor, in your personality voice, take us home with, please subscribe to the Parker Daniel Show in your voice. However you want to do it. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, near and far, this is your fairest friend of them all, the one and only Victor Armstead, saying to each and every one of you that if you loved this video, and we hope you did, be sure to hit the like button, drop a line in the comments section below. Be sure to share this video with all of your friends, and don't forget to also subscribe to this wonderful channel, The Parker Daniel Show, and hit the notification bell so that you can catch up on all the upcoming and exciting videos. And we'll see you next time.
I like that, man. Hey, Victor, thanks a lot, man, for everything. I'm going to get back with you in a few minutes, man. Appreciate it. And I'll tell everybody out there, except for the president, I said, what's up?
Now, he's not going to get any love over here till he gets that government back working.
Okay, we're going to talk about that on another issue. But thanks a lot, Victor.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the Parker Daniel Show. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button, share it with all your friends, and be sure to subscribe to the Parker Daniels channel and hit the notifications button so you'll be informed of all the new upcoming and exciting videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.